What if I told you that a 4,000-year-old promise is still shaping global politics today? That biblical prophecies written millennia ago might explain why millions of American Christians passionately support a small Middle Eastern nation the size of New Jersey? Before we dive in, I want to clarify that this video aims to explain various theological and historical perspectives on Christian support for Israel. We're exploring beliefs and motivations, not advocating for specific political positions. This complex topic deserves nuanced understanding beyond headlines and sound bites. Welcome to Wisdom Files, where we unpack the deeper spiritual and historical contexts behind today's religious realities. If you appreciate content that goes beyond the surface level, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us continue creating these deep dives into fascinating topics at the intersection of faith, history, and modern life. Today we're exploring why many Christians, particularly evangelicals, have formed such a strong alliance with the modern state of Israel, a relationship that's layered with biblical interpretation, historical context, and geopolitical considerations spanning thousands of years. Christian support for Israel isn't a new phenomenon. Its roots stretch back well before 1948 when Israel became a modern state. In fact, the concept of Christian Zionism emerged in the 19th century among Protestant communities in Britain and America. William Blackstone, an American evangelist, presented what became known as the Blackstone Memorial to President Benjamin Harrison in 1891. This petition called for the establishment of a Jewish state in Palestine decades before Theodor Herzl's political Zionism gained significant traction. Blackstone based his advocacy on biblical prophecies, particularly those in the Old Testament regarding the Jewish people returning to their ancestral homeland. But to truly understand this support, we need to go much deeper into scripture and theology. The cornerstone of Christian support for Israel rests on Genesis 12 verse 3, where God says to Abraham, "I will bless those who bless you, and whoever curses you I will curse, and all peoples on earth will be blessed through you." Many Christians interpret this verse as a divine mandate to support Abraham's descendants, the Jewish people, and by extension, the modern state of Israel. This covenant between God and Abraham is seen as eternal and unconditional, forming the basis for what many consider a moral obligation to stand with Israel. The prophet Ezekiel's vision of dry bones coming to life in chapter 37 is often interpreted as foretelling the Jewish people returning to their homeland after centuries of exile. When Israel declared independence in 1948, many Christians viewed this as biblical prophecy unfolding before their eyes. If you're finding this exploration valuable, take a second to hit the like button and consider subscribing to Wisdom Files for more deep dives into religious history and theological perspectives that shape our world today. For many evangelical Christians, Israel plays a central role in eschatology, theological beliefs about the end times. Various interpretations of biblical prophecy, particularly from the books of Daniel, Ezekiel, and Revelation, suggest that the Jewish people must return to their homeland before Christ's second coming. Dispensationalism, a theological framework popularized by the Scofield Reference Bible in the early 20th century, particularly emphasizes Israel's role in God's plan for humanity. This view holds that God works through different dispensations or periods throughout history, and that the Jewish people in Israel remain central to his divine plan. According to this interpretation, the establishment of modern Israel in 1948 and the recapturing of Jerusalem in 1967 represent significant steps toward the fulfillment of end-times prophecy. This eschatological perspective reinforces the belief that supporting Israel means aligning with God's divine timeline. Christianity emerged from Judaism, and Christ himself was Jewish. The early church struggled with defining its relationship to its Jewish roots, but the Bible makes clear that Christians have been grafted into God's covenant with Israel, not replaced it. This understanding, that Christianity and Judaism share deep theological connections, leads many Christians to view the Jewish people not as strangers, but as spiritual relatives. As the Apostle Paul writes in Romans 11 verse 18, "You do not support the root, but the root supports you." This perspective contrasts sharply with replacement theology or supersessionism, the view that the Church has replaced Israel in God's plan. While this view was common throughout much of Christian history, the Holocaust forced many Christians to reconsider this theology and its potential contribution to anti-Semitism. We can't discuss Christian support for Israel without acknowledging the shadow of the Holocaust. The systematic murder of 6 million Jews occurred in largely Christian Europe, often with the complicity or silence of Christian churches and communities. The Holocaust represented a profound moral failure of Christianity. In its aftermath, many Christians felt a deep sense of guilt and responsibility to stand against anti-Semitism in all its forms. Supporting Israel became one tangible way to demonstrate this commitment. Theologian Franklin Little captured this sentiment when he wrote that Christians must support the right of the Jewish people to exist as Jews, including their right to a homeland where they could defend themselves against future attempts at genocide. If you're appreciating this historical context, please take a moment to subscribe to Wisdom Files. Your support helps us continue creating content that explores the rich tapestry of religious thought throughout history. Beyond theological motivations, many Christians point to shared values between Israel and Western democracies. Israel stands as the only liberal democracy in the Middle East, with protections for religious freedom, women's rights, free press, and independent courts. For Christians living in pluralistic societies like the United States, these shared democratic values create a natural alliance. Israel's commitment to religious freedom also means that Christian holy sites are protected and accessible, something not guaranteed under previous rulers of the region. Christians in Israel enjoy full citizenship rights, serve in government, and practice their faith freely. This contrasts sharply with the persecution many Christian communities face elsewhere in the Middle East, where ancient Christian populations have declined dramatically in recent decades. It's important to note that Christian support for Israel isn't monolithic. Views range widely across denominations and theological traditions. While evangelical Protestants tend to be the most vocal supporters of Israel, mainline Protestant denominations and the Catholic Church often take more nuanced positions that recognize both Israeli security concerns and Palestinian rights. Orthodox Christian communities, many of which have deep historical roots in the Middle East, often align more closely with Arab perspectives on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Palestinian Christians, who trace their lineage back to the earliest Christian communities, frequently advocate for Palestinian rights while maintaining their Christian identity. Some progressive Christian voices critique what they see as unconditional support for Israeli policies, arguing that Christian ethics demand equal concern for Palestinian suffering. Organizations like Churches for Middle East Peace advocate for a just resolution that acknowledges the legitimate rights and needs of both Israelis and Palestinians. Christian support for Israel has translated into significant political influence, particularly in the United States. Organizations like Christians United for Israel, founded by Pastor John Hagee in 2006, claim millions of members and actively lobby for pro-Israel policies. This political mobilization has helped sustain bipartisan American support for Israel over decades, including billions in military aid annually. When American politicians speak at AIPAC or other pro-Israel gatherings, they're often addressing not just Jewish constituents but millions of Christian voters for whom Israel policy is a priority issue. The relationship became particularly visible during the Trump administration, which implemented several long-sought policies favored by both Israeli leadership and Christian Zionists, including moving the American embassy to Jerusalem and recognizing Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights. If you're finding these insights valuable, please hit that like button and subscribe to Wisdom Files for more content that brings historical and theological context to today's religious landscape. This Christian-Israel relationship isn't without its complexities and contradictions. Some Jewish observers express discomfort with Christian support that seems predicated on end-times scenarios where Jews must either convert to Christianity or face divine judgment. Additionally, some critics argue that unconditional support for Israeli government policies doesn't actually serve Israel's long-term interests or security needs. They suggest that true friendship sometimes requires honest criticism when actions may undermine the possibility of peace. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict presents profound moral challenges that resist simple solutions. Christians grappling with these issues must weigh competing ethical imperatives, supporting Israel's security while also advocating for justice and dignity for Palestinians, including Palestinian Christians. Christian support for Israel takes many practical forms beyond political advocacy. Christian tourism to Israel represents a major economic boost, with hundreds of thousands visiting holy sites annually. These pilgrimages often focus on biblical locations while also building personal connections with modern Israelis. Charitable giving represents another significant dimension. Christians donate millions through organizations that support Israeli causes, from helping Holocaust survivors to funding new immigrant absorption to planting trees in previously barren landscapes. Interfaith dialogue initiatives bring Christians and Jews together in unprecedented ways, healing ancient wounds and building mutual understanding. These relationships often deepen Christian appreciation for Judaism as a living faith tradition, not merely as Christianity's historical predecessor. Christian support for Israel stems from a complex interweaving of biblical interpretation, theological conviction, historical guilt, shared democratic values, and geopolitical considerations. For many believers, standing with Israel represents both fidelity to Scripture and a moral imperative in a world where anti-Semitism continues to threaten Jewish communities. Yet this support exists alongside legitimate concerns for peace, justice, and human dignity for all people in the region. The most thoughtful Christian engagement acknowledges these tensions without reducing the situation to simplistic narratives. As we navigate these complexities, perhaps we can find wisdom in the words of Psalm 122, "Pray for the peace of Jerusalem, may those who love you be secure." This prayer encompasses hope not just for Israel's security, but for a peace that brings justice and dignity to all who call this land home. Thank you for joining me for this exploration on Wisdom Files. If you found this helpful, please hit that subscribe button and share your thoughts in the comments below. Your engagement helps us build a community of thoughtful individuals interested in exploring the deeper contexts of faith and history. Until next time.